So it's like the president hit a gigantic lockdown reset button, and we've now got another 3 weeks to go. Main thing is stay at home. So I had a great conversation with two of the headmasters of the schools within Robertson. But before we get into that podcast, we need to know two things. Number one, this was recorded before we knew the lockdown would continue, but the information is still relevant. And the second thing is we've now moved this over to a open group so that people within the community can see it. But the only way they're going to see it is if one, they're part of this group, or two, that you share it. So this is a great opportunity for you to just hit that share button wherever it is. Let's get into today's podcast. There we go. Well, hello everybody. It is great to be back. I think this is the most anticipated podcast so far. So many people have reached out, sent messages, private Facebook messages, WhatsApp messages saying, please, can you interview the headmasters of the schools? We'd love to know what is going to happen with our children. And so today, I have the huge privilege of chatting with Mr. Wessels. He's the headmaster of the Robertson Law School. So we're going to jump right into it. Welcome, Mr. Wessels. Hoe gaan het daai kant?
Yes, Monet. Nee, goed, dankie. Baie dankie vir die geleentheid ook. Ons help graag. Hoe meer as die boodskap kan uitkry oor wat ons plan vorentoe is enige tyd.
Altye, né?
Maltye, nooit verwag nie. Waar niemand het dit ooit gedink nie. Dit staan nêrens in 'n handboek nie. So ons is excited oor wat dit ook kan gebeur. Dis ons almal leer hierby en my span is reg. Ons vat dit soos dit kom.
Het jy ooit gedink jy as 'n skoolhoof gaan ooit deur hierdie tye moet werk?
No, never in a million years. Ek meen dit het nog nooit gebeur in ons geskiedenis nie. Daar's nie, jy kan nie voorbereid wees daarvoor nie, maar dit is wat die job exciting maak. Ons sê baie in die onderwys, nou het ek al alles gesien, maar you've never seen it all. Daar kom altyd iets nuuts in, daar's altyd iets anders. Jy dink jy het al elke wit leentjie gehoor hoekom 'n huiswerkie gedoen is nie. Maar op die einde van die dag, elke dag is daar so iets verrassend en iets anderste wat ons werk ongelooflik maak en nie verveel dan nou. Is nie wat daar's elke dag iets wat gebeur wat jy nog nooit gesien het.
Well, the other day I saw this meme, you know, there's so many of these Facebook memes at the moment. The one was about this guy, he's lying on the couch, you know, with his bowl of popcorn en sy bier in een hand of whatever. Hy kyk vir die TV en jy weet, laas jaar was 'n leigat en hierdie jaar is dit this is what you must be doing. So.
That's what I thought teachers are doing now.
We'll get into that question. So my first question is, how were you and your staff able, you and the teachers, how were you able to prepare for the lockdown?
So luckily, like in the curriculum, the CAPS curriculum, everything, the planning is in advance. So we already, the planning for term 2 was already finished. So toe ons nou die nuus kry oor dat ons kwartaal gaan met 2 weke verkort wees en met die moontlikheid van dat dit dalk langer kan aanhou, het ons dadelik proaktief opgetree. Ek het die onderwysers daai maandag al die 16de Maart het ek die onderwysers opgelei oor hoe om Google Classrooms te gebruik. Ek was gelukkig so 2 maande voor die tyd op 'n kursus gewees en in die kursus het ons in detail opgegaan hoe werk Google Classrooms en how to implement it in your school in future. So dit was altyd 'n plan van my gewees om in die volgende 5 na 10 jaar dit miskien te implementeer op 'n manier om vir ouers daai ekstra data en inligting vinniger te kan bykom. So die onderwysers is toe opgelei en toe gebeur kom die lockdown na toe en daar is soos begin datum van die 14 April geskuif. Nou mik ons dalk vir die 21ste of dit gaan gebeur, weet ons nie. Maar die onderwysers is opgelei met Google Classrooms. Ons het dan toe daai laaste week skole die Woensdag vir die leerders gesluit, die 18de. Ons het die Donderdag en die Vrydag nog steeds ingekom skool toe sodat ons beplanning so kan uitwerk dat ons nie die 2 weke verloor nie, maar dat ons dit kan inpas in die res van die kwartaal asof ons terugkom die 21ste. So hierdie hele ding het bietjie ons beplanning gefast forward. Maar as ek sê, we were ready for it, ons het 'n training daarin gedoen maar dit is 'n nuwe wêreld, new challenges, nuwe uitdagings, maar it's exciting.
I agree with that. I think it is exciting. It's just something we all have to get used to. And another reason we're doing these podcasts is people make better decisions when they're educated and have a better way of sort of going forward. So it's great to, thank you for your time. What is the strategy going forward?
From the 14th of April, then Google Schools will be fully implemented in our school. At the moment, soos ons nou vandag sit, ek het net 'n opname gedoen. Ons is 87%, 87% of our learners are already registered on Google School. Ek kort 13% van die leerders. Ons doen baie moeite om nou almal daai 13% wel in te trek, dat ons hulle ouers aktief kry, want dit is so 'n maklike basis om te kan gebruik. As enige ou wat 'n slimfoon het, kan dit op die app gebruik. Daar's 'n Google Classroom app, wat dit ook baie maklik en toeganklik dan nou maak, want in deesdae se wêreld, almal het amper 'n slimfoon. Ek meen dis die persentasie mense sonder slimfoon is
baie min.
is redelik min in my skool se omgewing. So van die 14 af, hardloop ons vol Google Schools. Ons gaan 'n roostertjie uitwerk wat ons sê, soggens is 'n 8 en 9 is dan wiskunde gedeelte, sê maar 9 en 10 is tale en dan die inhoudsvakke. So ons gaan maar dit sal nou vanaf die 14e sal daai gedeelte in werking kom. Hoopelik kan ons teruggaan die 21ste of wanneer ook ons mag teruggaan en dan is dit nog weer normaal skool. Maar dan het ons nog steeds Google Classrooms daar op die backup for parents and for the learners to help them with assessments, to send them informal assessments, to help them prepare for exams and just to make life easier for both of us.
I'm a parent. Yes. I've got 2 children at home. It's truly a challenge, especially for those who are not just home and doing nothing, but those who are at home and still having to run a business and still function as they would normally at work, but over and above that, be a teacher. So here's the scenario. Normally, kids would come to school, we'd drop them off, we kiss them goodbye, and off they run into the school. They enter a very disciplined classroom environment. They are taught by one qualified teacher, which has their own style. So it's one teacher teaching in their style, and they have experience. To the current situation, which none of us could prepared for, not anybody's fault, but it is the situation that we're in. And so the current situation is we've got kids at home. That's the first one. The second one is it's a very different environment to a classroom. There's distractions. There's, they're in that environment all the time. And in most cases, they are being taught by non-qualified teachers or parents that don't have the experience to be teachers. So my question is, what is your expectation on parents during this time of having school at home?
Wat ons verwag van die ouers is dat hulle vir ons al moet help. Ek meen hulle sal vir ons op 'n manier moet help en al kan jy net help deur vir die kind dan toegang gee tot jou of mamma of pappa se laptop, tot die slimfoon waarby dan nou basies die werkies dan moet doen. Of miskien net om die bladsy uit te print wat die onderwysers dan nou stuur. Vanaf die 14de, die werk wat ons dan gaan stuur via PowerPoints en via boeke wat ons afneem, it's going to be very visual. Because most of the learners learn through visual and they want to see something. They want to see moving objects. And that's why all the material that we send, we like to send a YouTube link or a link to that associated with that work so that the learners can learn from that in a new environment. Want vandag se leerders leer mos maar, we talk about the screen ages. You have 4 to 7 seconds to get their attention. If they don't get their attention, they want to swipe you off the screen. En hoopelik is hierdie dan 'n manier om die leerders dan, dit kan nie boring wees nie. As dit boring is, dan moet jy net 'n ander video op YouTube gaan soek wat jy dan soek. Maar van die ouers se kant af, wil ek vra dat minimize the Xboxes. Die kinders die hele dag Xboxes sien. Stel 'n rooster op by die huis ook. Wanneer is dit dan nou skooltyd en wanneer is dit speeltyd? Maak reëls in jou huis wat werk vir julle. Google's Classroom is going to be the whole day. Jy gaan die hele dag kans hê om daai werk te kan doen, maar hoe dit werk vir jou in julle huis. So as jy sê ons staan so laat op, ons eet so laat, ons speel so laat, daai uur is Xbox en PlayStation tyd en hierdie 5 ure is dan nou skooltyd. Laat ons vra vir ouers om dit vir ons te doen en dan ook die toegang te gee vir die leerders dan tot die werk. So dis baie meer active as wat jy kan net aflaai by die skool. Baie keer sê ouers maar hulle weet nie wat in die skoolwerk aangaan nie. Nou het hulle daai verskoning, jy weet presies, you know exactly what's going on in your classroom. Because Google Classroom looks as a Facebook page. Dis is 'n Facebook wall wat daar is en jy scroll op of af en jy kan al die posts en die goed sien. Daar's ook timelines wat jy duidelik kan sien. En dan ook moet die ouers asseblief encourage the children to read a lot, to go and read extra information about the subject, about the topic. En dan ook wat lekker is as die dag as hulle terugkom skool toe en jy het iets raak gelees of 'n ander interessante webwerf ontdek, post dit op jou graad se classroom. Op jou klas se classroom. So kan leerders by mekaar ook begin leer deur information te share wat ook baie belangrik dan vir ons gaan wees. Leerders hoef nie die werk te ken nie. We're not going to put up formal assessments on Google Classroom. Ons gaan nie eksamens skryf op Google Classroom vir eers nie. Dis worst case scenario. Maar die leerder het ten minste nou al, hy het kennis, hy het al iets geleer van die onderwerp. So wanneer hy terugkom skool toe, dan gaan ons dit hersien en ons sal die vaslegging en die hersieningwerk sal ons dan in skool doen voordat die formele assesserings, the formal assessments that follow when they're back at school.
To give clarity, because again, I think a lot of parents are nervous on what is the expectation.
Yes.
Once my child returns to school, has it been my responsibility to teach them the work? And I think that this is where big confusion comes in, is more us as parents, we need to create the environment, so a space that they can do Google Classrooms, then giving them access to Google Classrooms either on the phone or through a laptop or printing it out. One of those three. The last one is just that we have a very clear understanding that the kids do not need to return to school having necessarily know the work, but they must have at least gone through the work. And I think that is something that just takes the expectation off parents that they're not going to come back to school and all of a sudden have to write exams. So that's another question. What's going to happen with the June exams?
At the moment, I can't give you a definite answer. We got a newsletter to say that they're going to try to catch up all the days that we are missing now. Either it's going to be in June holidays or during the September holidays. We don't know the date yet. I don't know about the June exam yet. So hopefully we will be back before then. We will have enough time for preparation and enough time for revision. Genoeg tyd vir vaslegging voor die eksamen. Maar ek kan die ouers verseker dat ons gaan nie eksamens skryf oor werk wat die onderwyser ook self weer behandel het nie, of daar nie genoeg vaslegging was in klastyd.
I think that's excellent news. Just to remind the people that you as a school and teachers will be going through the work again, and they will only be examined on the work that they actually do in the classrooms with the teachers. But let's say we don't go back to school on the 21st. What is the plan to then continue with Google Schools?
So as soon as I get the final dates and we know when we're going back, or that we're not going back before June or whenever, then we're going to continue on Google Classrooms. So the next 10 weeks or 8 weeks, the planning is already done, and the teachers know what to do. We have our meetings via Zoom also. Everything continues as per normal, but just on Google Classroom.
Some people have access to internet, some people don't. As we said, a lot of people have cell phones, but data is expensive still, and so people have a challenge to necessarily get hold of this stuff. Do you have a plan with kids that currently cannot access the actual Google Schools?
That's also one of the important thing, that we can't just jump into formal assessments when we get back to school. As I said, at the moment, there's 13% of children that still need to access Google Classrooms. So I can actually see that. Die app maak dit baie maklik. Dus ek sê daar's 'n terme mense wat dan al het nie laptop nie, maar ten minste jy die app op jou foon wat dan baie help ook. Ja. En dan so ons gaan genoeg tyd ook moet gee voor dan die vormassesserings. Ek is ook in noue kontak met die herberg kinderhuis, en hulle is ook gereed hiervoor, en hulle weet ook presies wat ons van mekaar verwag, en Google Classrooms, hulle hardloop dit ook daar by hulle op die manier ons dan vir mekaar kan help. En dan ook WCED, the Western Cape Education Department, have 'n e-portal, en baie van hulle webwerwe en links wat hulle op daai WCED e-portal het, is verniet webwerwe, waar jy verniet die inligting, verniet curriculum goed kan kry. As ek kon sou modules vir daai kinders gaan afrol het, of werk gaan afrol het en vir hulle gaan uitdeel, maar ons word nie toegelaat om dit te doen nie. But that's why we'll give enough time before we with formal assessments when we're back at school. Ek het hierdie ongelooflike span, lovely staff behind me, and they are so excited and hard workers. En hulle vat hierdie challenge met beide hande en hulle probeer dit so kreatief en so moontlik leerbaar as moontlik dan vir die kinders ook maak. Zoom was vir ons almal maar iets net, ons hoef dit mos nie te gedoen het nie, maar dis uitdagings, en soos ek sê, hierdie ongelooflike personeel wat ons help mekaar en ons gee raad, en die een klas wat byvoorbeeld voorgehardloop het met Google Classrooms, daai juffrou is heeltyd in kontak met almal om te sê doen dit so en doen dit so, dat ons by mekaar kan leer. Dit is maar onsekerheid vir ons almal, maar ons vat dit soos dit kom, en ons maak die beste daarvan.
Well, thank you, Mr. Wessels. I think it's been a real encouragement.
Pleasure.
Thank you to you and your staff. I think, under the circumstances, you guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you for all the effort and the time and the energy that you're putting into the education of our children. And I think, just from what you're saying, I think this has sort of brought your staff closer on a different level. How's this affected your family, though? Like, I mean, you're normally with all our children at school. So
Yes, yes.
How does it feel being at home?
Now, remember, I've got this is a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and so my home is totally upside down, toys lying everywhere. We have a few injuries as well. We try to keeping them busy doing schoolwork. Luckily, I'm married to a foundation-based teacher, so she's doing nice school stuff with them. I try to work. I lock myself into a room and just leave daddy alone sign. But yeah, no. It's difficult for all of us, but we try to stay positive and having a lot of braais.
Yeah, I think that's the best part. You've just got to do it. Well, again, thank you, Mr. Wessels. Baie dankie vir jou tyd. Waardeer ek weet julle is vrek besig met al hierdie goedjies op die oomblik en ja, ons sien uit vir die nuwe fase. Ek meen in 'n maand se tyd gaan hierdie we're going to be used to this, you know. So
Yes.
so it's just the beginning phase and I think the public, the parents, all of us, we need to be very patient and really work together at making this work because we don't have a choice. This is what we're in. Let's make it work. Thank you, Mr. Wessels.
Yes, be responsible, be safe, stay at home.
Today we're going to be chatting to Mrs. Lloyd, headmaster of the Robertson Logos Christian School. And as I've mentioned, this is our number one podcast. What's going to happen with our kids? Will this lockdown ever end? And a lot of parents are going crazy. So, hi, Mrs. Lloyd. How are you doing in these crazy times?
I'm Renee. No, we're doing well. Thank you. Learning new skills like having meetings on Zoom and baking bread at home.
So I think a lot of parents are desperately looking for some security within their homeschooling environment, stuff that they're having to do now that they've maybe never had to do before. How did you and your team handle the lockdown and week leading up to letting all the students go home?
I think when the president announced the lockdown on that Sunday evening, the first thing that we did Monday morning is I met with my senior staff and we brainstormed a couple of ideas and looked at the situation from all directions and looked at possible solutions. So that is when we decided to immediately make sure that we are able to communicate effectively with our students and with our parents. So we made sure that all classes had WhatsApp groups, and we also registered all our students on Google Classroom. This was really it's a whole new platform for us and a whole new discovery in itself. But it's a very user-friendly platform, and literally by the 1st of April, we were able to switch our school, and it was actually transformed from a normal school to an online school. I have to admit, the staff was absolutely brilliant. They were just embraced it. From RRR to grade 12, all our students have access to Google Classroom. And Google Classroom is absolutely amazing. Every evening, they put their assignments on Google Classroom. The next morning, our students log in, they do their assignments, they submit their assignments. And from a principal's point of view, it's really fantastic because I can visit any of those classrooms at any time and look at the work of the teacher and as well as the students, who has submitted, who hasn't submitted. I'm able to follow up what is the problem. So it's a very, very effective way of homeschooling. And then also with the teachers are expected to work from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock, be available to our parents, to our students, to assist, to guide, and to help them whenever they are stuck with anything. Now, I have to admit, we're in a fortunate position because both of the programs that we use in our school are homeschool programs. So the ACE program that we use in our foundation phase up until grade 3 teaches a student to learn independently. So that is actually a wonderful opportunity for them to apply their skills. And then the impact program that we're using is also very, very user-friendly. So the parents are able to follow those guidelines. But in effect, it's between the student and the teacher because the teachers are actively involved and available to their students from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're making the best of the situation.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, you know, and I've said this so many times with every single person that we've spoken to. This was an unprepared situation. So whatever we're doing going forward is breaking new ground, learning new things, trying to make the best of this as possible. Nobody can blame anybody else. It's not a respecter of person. It's just the reality of where we're at. And I think generally the public needs to have patience with everybody at the moment because we're all learning a new way. So, Mrs. Lloyd, I want to try and get into the minds and into the scenario scenarios of parents at home. In a normal situation, we would drop off our children at school. They would be in a class environment surrounded by their friends. They'd be taught by a qualified teacher. So the whole environment is very different to what we're experiencing today in lockdown. You know, children are at home. They're having to find a space within their homes to learn, guided or taught by parents that don't necessarily have loads of experience. And that's pressure on the parent as well. The parent's trying to figure out maybe answers that they don't even know. This is my question. What is the expectation on parents at this time? Because parents may be stressed by the responsibility of educating their children.
I think it's important for parents to realize that from our side that we're not expecting them to take the role of the teacher. First role is to be the parent. And I know it creates a lot of fear and anxiety and uncertainty for the parent because it's a huge responsibility. And that is why we would, from our side, from the school side, we would like to support as far as possible and to leave it between the student and the teacher, and for the teacher to continue to take that responsibility. But the parent's role is really very important in just encouraging the children, creating a learning environment, assisting students and encouraging them to remain within the routine, the daily routine of having a classroom, a home classroom. So the parents can play a huge role and also to make sure that the uncertainty of the parent or the frustration even, that doesn't get across to the children, because it sends out the message that the parent is not in control, and they don't need to be in control of a situation, and they expect to perform miracles. We can only do what we can do and leave the miracles up to the Lord. He's still in control of the situation, and he encourages us. If we need wisdom, we can ask him, and this is a wonderful opportunity for parents and children to reconnect, and for family values to grow, and for relationships to flourish. And I think it's important that the pressure from the academic pressure, that doesn't interfere with the relationship between the parent and the child. We're in this journey together, and they have to understand also that it's uncertain times for us, but it shouldn't make us fearful, that we've got to make the best of the situation. And this is a wonderful opportunity to show our kids that even under pressure, we can still be calm and in control of the situation.
That is such great advice. The expectation upon us is not to become teachers, but is to remain parents. We're having to take responsibility for certain things that we wouldn't normally take responsibility for, and that does add a bit of pressure, and in some situations, a lot of pressure. But we are being supported as parents by schools setting up programs like you've explained to us. Google Classrooms, the WhatsApp groups with the teacher, which I think is a great platform for us to use. Yes, there are going to be challenges when it comes to data and internet, but some things we cannot sort out. But the things that we have sorted out are really to benefit parents. Do you have any advice, or what is your guys' sort of strategy, or is there a plan? Is there an idea for people that can't get access to Google Schools?
You almost can't imagine yourself without data, but that is unfortunately the reality that we're facing. And the only suggestion that I have is that those children, they should have their school books with them, and then create their own little timetable, stick to a routine, take your school books, try and plan your books, and try and imagine that you are the teacher. You can create your own school. You can become the teacher. So make it interesting, make it fun. If you're a student who complains that school is boring, this is your opportunity to make school more interesting.
We don't know how long this thing is going to be for, and I think it's an encouragement, and I love that enthusiasm. Make the best of what you can with what you have. Tackle this thing head on. We're all in it together. Nobody's exempt from this whole process of COVID-19 lockdown, the challenges that we're all facing. So it's really to utilize and make the best of the situation with your children, making sure that they're progressing as far as you can, and do your best. And so I want to thank you for you and your team. A quick question: how has this affected yourself and your staff?
I must admit that by the end of the first day, I had a couple of teachers who said they've never been more exhausted because they had to change their roles from a teacher to a mentor, an online mentor. And instead of teaching one lesson and it's for a whole group of kids, all of a sudden they are expected to individually connect with every single child, help them to bridge whatever the challenge is that they're facing, and it's tough on them. But we're also excited about this, and as a school we have faced many challenges before, and every single time we've managed to emerge stronger than before. And we see it as an opportunity where we can learn new skills and to really be excited about this, and to see how can we make it excited for the kids to have a positive input in their lives. So whether it's via WhatsApp or Google Classroom, it's actually proved to be a whole new experience, and a positive one as well.
As you just said, now teachers have to teach not just one time to a classroom, but many times over to the different individuals throughout the day. So from the community, we want to say a great big thank you from your parents, from people that are involved in the Robertson Logos Christian School. Thank you for your time. Thank you for always being positive and really tackling this thing, even though it's unfamiliar, in the best way that you guys can. So a great big shout out to you and your staff for doing a great job for the future generation. Thank you for the encouragement and just for being there for the parents. We really appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you, Morne. Now, it's a privilege to serve the community of Robertson, and I'm really looking forward. I'm sure that we're going to hear a lot of testimonies after this situation that we're in. Just keep our focus. We will, in the end, experience and have the fruit of peace. So thank you, Morne, also for what you're doing and keeping our community together and our focus, and helping us experience new things and exposing us to all the different platforms. So thank you from our side as well.
Yeah, again, I think the goal of this whole project is to really just get information to people that need it, and also to give those in the general community a bit of understanding of what's going on within businesses, environments, shops, whatever that is, and now today's schools. So again, Talita, thank you so much for your time. Great words of encouragement, and all the best over the next few weeks as we face challenges we've never even thought of ourselves. So all the best.